Okay. Hey everybody!
Hey!
It's the Harloffs again. We are doing kind of a part 2 introduction video here. For anybody that might not know who we are, which is probably a lot of people, we thought we would introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about ourselves and our history, so that maybe you'll want to find out more about us and watch more of our videos.
I'm Matt. Yeah. I was born and raised in the great state of Iowa. My dad was a band director, so I grew up in a musical family, where going to marching band practices as a little kid and all that kind of stuff, and so music was just a big part of our life. And I have a brother, Ben, and both of us followed in our dad's footsteps and became and studied music and became band directors. We fell in love with the activity of drum corps, and marched a couple of feeder corps. Being from Iowa, the Dubuque Colt Cadets, they had a small little drum corps. They still have it, actually. And then the Phantom Regiment Cadets marched there for a couple of years, and then moved to March Star of Indiana, where then we moved to Indiana. So yeah, that was a big part of our drum corps was a big part of our lives growing up. But so was our high school time. My high school was Mount Pleasant, Iowa, which is basically an hour south of Iowa City. So I took trumpet lessons from some professor aides from the University of Iowa. So that was fun, and then ultimately knew I was going to study music and looked at Indiana University. Ultimately through Star of Indiana, because my senior year of high school is when I started doing Star of Indiana, and ended up going to Indiana University studying music education, and did Star of Indiana from 1989. I never wore the pinks. I regret that. So my first year was the British show year, and then I went all the way through. I was a soloist in '92 and drum major in '93, and then they went to the indoor brass theater thing, and so I stayed with Star and performed with Canadian brass and all that, and ultimately is where Susie comes in. She joined Star the summer of '95. That's where we met, and we just kind of hit it off. Some funny stories there, but we'll get to those. Those are fun. But yeah, we hit it off that summer, and it was, if there is such a thing as love at first sight, we were pretty close to that. I mean, it didn't take us. It was one of those where you left the summer going, I think she's it. I think she's the one. So. We still had some schooling we had to go through, or else. You did. I graduated in 4 years from college. Right, and then I had one more year. I was one of those 5-year guys. So I had to do that. She ended up working for Sears. Saw the CEO of Sears a lot. I did. It was kind of fun. Good job. It's a funny story. And then after I graduated IU, my only job has been Avon. So Jay Webb, who was the director of Avon at the time, who was building up the program, had built the program enough to justify an assistant band director, and that happened to be when I started looking for a job. And one of the requirements for the new position was it had to be a first-year teacher, and so I don't think I knew that. Yeah, and wow. I was actually helping with the troopers, their spring training that summer of '96, where Jeff Gentry was writing the drill, who was Jay Webb's roommate at the time. So it just happened to be, it was amazing. I just went out for spring training for the troopers, and little did I know I'd find a job that would ultimately be a lifetime job. And come to find out that they officially opened a position. I applied and was offered, and obviously took it. A growing community here at Avon, right next to Indianapolis. an assistant position, thought it would be a great starting point for me, and it certainly was, and turned into a lot more than that. I didn't realize what it would be, but turned into a lot more than that. And so I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anything, but I've been at Avon ever since, and through Avon, you know, obviously the whole school has grown. Actually, for me, it's grown so much that in my 22 years, 23 years now, we've had 3 different band rooms. So the band room that I started at, which is a current middle school, and then the high school was built, and then there was an add-on that ended up being the band room that we're in now. So a total of 3 different offices. It's since I've been here, which, you know, is tribute to the community just booming over here, the west side of Indianapolis. And then the program has grown to be very, very successful in all facets of you know, what we offer in terms of marching band and concert bands, and our color guards, our drum lines, and all the other things that we offer, chamber groups and indoor winds now, and you know, there's so many things now. It's just a huge, it's huge now. So drum corps career, I taught while I was with Avon. Jay Webb certainly allowed me to be a part of drum corps. I taught with the cadets for a couple of years, the late 90s, early 2000s, and then in 2003 I joined Michael Klesch and Jim Coates and the team, and it started my time with Carolina Crown. So it's pretty much been that, you know, for the last 15 years or so, you know, Avon and
Crown.
Crown.
All right, my turn. My life is not that interesting.
Yes, it is.
I grew up in a couple of places, but we'll just start where I went to high school and college in Pennsylvania. That's where I'm from. And I went to Westchester University. I also grew up in a very musical family. None of my parents were band parents, but they exposed us to a lot of music. Took us to drum corps shows, musicals. I had 3 sisters. All of us played instruments and sang. We were in church choir and band and all that stuff. And I went to Westchester as an elementary ed major because I didn't want to make music my career. I wanted it to be my hobby. That was my rationale. So while I was at Westchester, if you're familiar with that university, they have a very incredible band program, and even though I wasn't a music major, I was involved in all the bands there. And then I discovered something called Winter Guard, and I had never seen it before, and I fell in love and decided I wanted to do color guard. So that's what kind of changed the trajectory of my life, was joining color guard. And there was an independent world guard there called Field of View, and I auditioned for and made that. I don't know how. I think it's because they had to fill a quota of university students in order to be sponsored by the university. So I got in, fell in love with color guard, but also decided I did not like outdoor color guard. And this is important in a minute, because I did a marching band season on the field and hated every second of it, because when it was windy, it was hard, and it was raining, it was hard, and I could never ever take a break, because if you stop spinning your flag, everybody notices. So, but I wanted to do drum corps because I went to Westchester and everybody marched the Crossmen in the 90s, and my little sister decided she was going to march Crossmen, and I thought, it's getting close to my age out, I think I'll just suck it up and do it. And since I was a woodwind player, my only option was color guard. So I went to a couple Crossman camps, and while I was there, I started hearing this buzz about this group in Indiana that was doing inside drum corps. And I was like, what?
That's you.
What? Drum corps? But I'm inside. I don't have to worry about the elements and my flag. And so started talking to some people about this Star of Indiana group that took drum corps inside and did this brass theater, and decided that's what I wanted to do. Again, another change of the trajectory of my life. So that's what brought me out here to Indiana. And I did 2 summers with that. And of course, that's where I met Matt. And we'll get back to that a little bit, because that's kind of a fun story. But yeah, so I graduated in 4 years, just elementary ed degree, and then decided I didn't want to live in Pennsylvania because that was too far away from Matt. So I moved to Chicago, where my family had relocated, worked at Sears corporate headquarters and the Disney store. of course,
Big.
while Matt was finishing school. And then, of course, as soon as he got out, he got swept up by Avon, and I quickly moved down to Indianapolis with him. And as soon as we started working at Avon, I jumped right in and started teaching the color guard there. So I've been a part of the Avon band program as long as Matt, although I did step out for a while once we had children, and I just got a little bit crazy having kids and doing all that. So I stepped out for a while. I'm happily jumping back into it, kind of focusing more with the horn line now, working on performance qualities and dancing. So that I'm loving that. And I'm also the director of the middle school cadet guard. So I do that as well with Avon. I'm still a teacher. I actually taught for 20 years in an elementary classroom and got completely fried with standardized testing and ridiculous expectations and too much data gathering and all that stuff, and was blessed with a new job as a kindergarten music teacher. So that's what I do now. I act like a fool all day and have cute little kids like singing and dancing and loving me, and it is awesome. And I get to leave school and not bring any papers home to grade or give any standardized tests. And it's amazing. And it freed up time for me to spend more time with Matt at Avon and run the cadet guard. Yeah, so that's what I am now. One other quick note, the color guard activity and how it has helped me is back in 1996, when I got done with Star of Indiana, Ruth Ann Medworth hired me to teach the Music for All. At the time, it was Bands of America Summer Symposium. And I have been teaching at that camp now for 22, 23 years. And about 8 to 10 years ago, I actually took over the camp, and I'm the coordinator for the color guard track there. So that is a big part of my life. We worked together on the Bands of America Honor Band at the Rose Parade a couple times. So 4 times? 4? I think we did that parade 4 times. So that's been an honor, and that was wonderful. So yeah, I think that's it. And now also with some of the free time I have now that I have a different job, I try to work more with groups around the Midwest on performance qualities and dance, and I'll go in and clinic with color guards and bands. And I also write choreography for color guard. So yeah, color guard changed my life in many, many ways. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, so just quickly.
Your life is pretty exciting.
I do have an exciting life. It's just not as prestigious as all the things. I don't know. Look, when I meet people and they're like, oh, this is Susie. And they're like, oh, nice to meet you. And they go, Susie Harloff. And they're like, Harloff? What?
Same thing happens to me.
Come on. Doubt it. Doubt it.
You're Susie's husband. Yes, I am.
So just quick about our meeting. So yes, we did meet at Star of Indiana. I was already graduated from college. I was a rookie at 20 years old. So pathetic. And Matt, of course, was this like icon of Star of Indiana, the last drum major on the competitive field. Everybody knew Matt Harloff. He was like the dude. And you want to tell the hallway story?
The first time I remember seeing Susie, I don't know what it was, but it was a bad day. I'll just say that. And so I was going down the hallway at the Star School, and she was coming the other way. And of course, if you know Susie, she's smile on her face all the time. And if you know me, not
so much.
Not so much. So I don't know. I don't even remember what it was, but let's just call it a bad day or whatever. And so I'm going down the hallway, relatively mad about something, and here she comes, and we make eye contact, and Susie's like, "Hi," and I said hi back, I'm sure, but I remember thinking, I'm like, yeah, just give it a couple weeks and you're just going to be pissed off like me, like I remember thinking that. So that's the first time I remember seeing her. But then after that, we got hooked up on the next thing I remember, that was a long time ago.
Was that night at the Crazy Horse in Bloomington?
Yeah.
I think we just bonded over the fact that neither one of us drank alcohol. And when he told me that, I was like, okay, I'm going to hang out with you. And then we started talking about IU, and because I was from Pennsylvania, I knew nothing about Indiana, including not knowing who Bobby Knight was.
Which was a problem.
I had no idea. So that just, yeah. So that's where we started bonding, and all that took off from there. So
Yeah.
we were married in 1997. We had a lovely wedding that we did for my parents, basically, and your parents.
Susie did a great job setting it all up. She worked.
I'm just going to throw this out here. Weddings are lovely, but if you just elope. Just elope.
That's what my brother did.
Like, the best thing was
Brilliant.
getting in the car at the end of the night, and it was over. We were like, yay, we're done. Just, I know.
But it was great. A lot of people came. Star guy.
Yes.
There was a brass choir there, and it was.
And our honeymoon was
We
one night.
had a big party. Lots of people. So it was great.
I guess.
Well, she has 3 sisters, so the wedding party had to be big.
And that's true.
So.
Oh, big party, like wedding party. I thought you meant like
the
reception.
Yeah.
It was not really that big of a party. But the wedding party, yes, was big.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So next, first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes Matt, and the baby carriage. So our first child was Tyson. He was born in 2000.
The funny story about that was, I was Susie. I was trying to get my master's degree at the time, and I would go up to Chicago and take these MECA courses at Vandercook. If they still offer them, highly recommend them. They were awesome. They were week-long classes, and so my dad, who had to renew his license, he would come up with me, and because those credits would help renew his license, and then the credits that I got from Vandercook transferred to help me ultimately get my master's degree. Anyway, due date was coming up, and I was going up to Chicago to take these MECA courses. Thought it would be okay, Susie had had an appointment, and doctor, said, hey, if he's ready to come out, he's going to come out in the next 24 hours. And Susie told me that, and so I said, okay, well, let me know, and I'll head down. And she had a rough night that night, and then she called me that morning, and she said, I think you better come down.
I'm pretty sure I was in labor all night, but your first kid, you just don't really know.
So you heard the stories about, people like speeding to, get to the hospital because, wife's in labor or whatever. Well, I was in Chicago, and so Susie woke me up early, maybe 5:30, 6 a.m. or whatever, and then took off, took 2.5 hours to get to Susie, went to the doctor, and then, at 1 o'clock that afternoon, Tyson was born. So,
pretty quick.
Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah.
It was really, really fast.
Yeah.
So it's not a cool story.
So Tyson has been awesome. He played trumpet, and I don't know if we want to tell them all those details, but if you don't know, after Tyson graduated, he ended up marching Carolina Crown in the trumpet line with Matt last year. Took home the Jim Ott, which was really special, and it was nice to have that. After 4 years with Avon with his dad, and then he got to go to Crown, and it was just really, really nice way to kind of finish off Tyson's childhood, really. Because now he is in Orlando, Florida, attending Full Sail University. He's studying film down there, which when we found that Full Sail University, it was such a blessing because it's a 20-month bachelor's, just kind of throw them in the field, throw them on set, get them through, get them their degree, and it's in Orlando, which is really close to Disney World, so it was perfect. So I don't know if you want to say anything else about our boy, Tyson.
No, I think pretty much said it all.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
he's been great.
We're really proud of him. He's
very proud of him. Yep.
Great kid. So funny. Annoying sometimes, but great kid. Then 5.5 years.
He's got a great personality. He takes after his mommy. Poor kid. I hear the poor kid looks like me, poor guy, but he's got his mom's personality, which makes him pretty special.
Oh, this is sweet.
Shaelyn, funny. I love the Shaelyn story because, our doctor said, "Would you like to have a Valentine's Day baby?" And of course, Susie was like, "Okay, that sounds good to me." And so Shaelyn was born towards the end of the night. So Shaelyn wasn't as easy as Tyson, but you know, of course, there's me. You know, we're pros now. We already have a child, so we've already been through this. So I'm taunting Susie. It's like, oh, you got 3 hours left, and then we're not going to have a Valentine's baby. What are you doing? Let's go. So that was funny. I think.
So we were induced with Shaelyn for no good reason other than having a Valentine's
Right,
baby. Like,
right.
our OBGYN was awesome. He was a very chill dude, and he, you know, I had started showing signs that she was about ready, but you know, if we waited, it probably would have been a couple more days. And he was like, well...
Or maybe a week even.
And I think he was going on vacation too. So he was kind of like, well, let's
see if we can get this going.
We have this going. So we were induced for no good reason. And I'm sure because I was very healthy and had healthy pregnancies, that it was okay to do that. So, yeah, but she was born on Valentine's Day, and then she came out with red hair.
Yeah, that was a cool surprise.
Yeah. So people ask us all the time, Matt's mom had red hair?
Yes.
Yes.
But my mom's sister was a really...
redhead. And I have a redheaded sister as well. So there's obviously red hair in the gene pool somewhere. Yeah. When she came out with red hair, we were like, what?
That was a cool surprise.
And then my redheaded sister has 3 children, and none of them have red hair. So I got the redhead. Yeah, sorry, Lori. She's always envious of that. But Shaelyn's great. She is 13 right now. And
smart,
in the middle school.
talented.
Very smart, very talented, great performer. She tested... She is following my footsteps in the fact that I consider myself a jack of all trades, master of none. Like, I do a lot of things pretty okay, but I never really just focused on one thing. I got really great at it. And she did color guard for a little bit. She takes dance classes. She plays oboe. She does musical theater. She's in the choir. You know, like she's an artist. She loves playing around with makeup. Like, she just does all the things. And she's a 13-year-old. So we have our days, good ones and bad ones, and we're excited to see where she goes. I mean, her opportunities at the high school are endless, so we'll see what path she takes when she gets to the high school. So, all right, so that's us. Before we say goodbye, because I don't know if anyone has watched this much of the video. Are you really still here watching?
Yeah.
Just like what our interests are, and this also leads into what you'll be seeing on the channel, but obviously we're huge Disney fans. Disney is our religion, basically. It's what brings us peace, and it's what makes us happy. One of the things that we do to deal with this crazy life that we lead is we always have our Disney vacations to look forward to. We know there's going to be a time in the not so near future, time in the future, where we will be getting away from here and going on a cruise or going to Walt Disney World, where we can just kind of shut everything off for a while and reconnect and just be a family again. And back in 2005, Matt started, like, I've always been a Disney fan, like Little Mermaid, like I had all the things memorized. I love Disney.
You worked at the Disney store?
I worked at the Disney store, but I wasn't really full in on Disney, like the parks, because, you know, it was expensive. I think I went 3 times before I turned 20, before I turned 25. But anyway, Matt started getting into it because you guys were there for drum corps or something. Yeah,
Michael Klesch. Well, obviously, I knew of Michael Klesch. I didn't talk about this in my little blurb about me, but Michael Klesch is one of my best friends, and I grew up idolizing him as an arranger who arranged the Garfield Cadets in the late 80s and early 90s, and then he was arranging for the Crossmen when I was one of the brass technicians at the Cadets. And so I had the pleasure of meeting him, and we worked on a camp together, which was a lot of fun. And then we talked to each other. When he was arranging the Phantom Regiment, I helped with them for a couple of weeks. Maybe they were low on brass staff at some point, and I drove up there and helped them for a couple of weeks when he was arranging there. And so we finally found a home where, you know, we could, you know, with Crown, where we could really work together a lot more. And anyway, I digress, but Michael was involved in the Disney Vacation Club. And one of the DCI meetings, it might have been even 2003, Michael took myself and Leon May up to the California Grill, which is a restaurant that overlooks Magic Kingdom. And I'm just looking at this place going, holy smokes. And so yeah, at that point, you know, it was kind of a trigger of, boy, this could be a happy place for us. This could be something that we could really, you know, find some joy and, you know, like Susie just said, have a countdown and something to look forward to. And so maybe a year or two later or whatever, Susie and I made an appointment with the Disney Vacation Club members, and then it was just hard to say no. And so then that helps. That ultimately helps us go as much as we want to go.
Sorry, it took me a while to get on board with it financially, because I was like, that's a lot of money to spend. And what ultimately became the deciding factor was, if you're paying that much money, it forces you to carve out the time to take the vacations.
Which is bad to say, but again, it's something that...
It's so easy to say, we don't have time, we don't have the money, we'll do it, you know, another time. But when you're paying that money into it and you have those points to use, you know, as DVC works.
But then you're investing.
Make the time.
You're investing in happiness.
Yes.
And that is... Yeah. You have to do that.
We wouldn't trade it for the world. Was it the most financially smart thing for us to do? Probably not. But I wouldn't take back all the vacations we've had with our kids and all the times that we've needed a refresher and we've needed to get away, and how the Vacation Club has provided that for us. This is not a commercial for Disney Vacation Club, but...
Everybody should find their own happy place.
It's a big part of our life, yeah, and it's definitely our happy place. So Disney's a big thing for us. Obviously, drum corps and band basically consume your life. Mm-hmm. I enjoy community theater a lot, and again, that's something else I did not get into until I was an adult, because Color Guard opened that door for me of performing and how great that felt. And so community theater was a way to continue doing that, since I was too old for Color Guard performing. And then Shaelyn has joined me in that venture. We actually just finished doing a show together, which was really, really fun. So we'll see a little bit of that on this channel, I'm sure. But I would say we used to enjoy watching TV, but all of our favorite shows like 24 and Lost, and they keep taking away our favorite shows. But Disney Plus has been, that's been good. No, we don't have a lot of time to watch TV at all. And people are like, do you watch this show? No, I don't watch TV. But then we'll get to our breaks and you know,
start binge watching.
We'll binge.
Yeah, we'll just start doing that. That's the thing now. Yes. Just like YouTubing.
That's what the cool kids do. They binge. All right, so that's a little bit about us, where we've been, where we are now, and
we're blessed to be around a lot of great people too.
Oh my gosh, that could be a whole nother video.
And knowing so many great people and our families and all of that, we're blessed to call a lot of talented people friends. And
can I just interrupt?
Go for it.
I don't know if there's a picture here, but so we got into Disney cruising because of some friends. Their names are the Van Dorens,
who taught me at Star.
Right.
So another one of my many mentors.
And when we planned this cruise, it was the first one we went on, and the Van Dorens kind of put together a group of us, people who are all lovers of Disney, who are all involved in the pageantry arts. Yeah, so we call ourselves a Disney family, but we did 2 cruises like that together, and then we did like a Disney World vacation where we were all kind of together. But here's my point. So we're sitting at the table on the cruise ship, and we're all sitting together, and I'm looking around the table, and it's like, there's Donnie Van Doren, there's Michael Klesch,
there's Ralph Hardiman,
there's Dean Westman, there's Ralph Hardiman, there's like,
yeah.
Who? What is my life? Like, look at all these incredible people that are like, we don't just know them, we love them.
Dean and I would joke around saying, hey, you know, we'll be glad to take your luggage onto the ship.
Yeah. Here, Donnie, let me get that for you. Here, Ralph.
Here, Michael, let me grab that for you.
Yeah, anyway, we are blessed. We have a great life. Not without its ups and downs, for sure. We have those like everybody else, but yeah, we're thankful. And we're thankful for you if you actually watched all of this. Hope we entertained you a little bit. Anyway, that's us. Let's go make some videos.
Let's do it.
Okay.